Coming up on the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast, we talk to Indiana's new Secretary of Commerce. A small-town bakery offers pies in a jar. As the weather gets warmer, we spotlight Indiana's best spots for barbecue. An Indy company that makes safe, green dinnerware is seeing major growth. Purdue's data mining program attracts some big-name partners. And Indiana Sports Technology Business Accelerator welcomes a new set of startups. Welcome to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. I'm Andy Ober. Indiana has a new Secretary of Commerce. Governor Eric Holcomb has named Hoosier native and longtime Buckingham Company CEO Bradley Chambers to the position. In this extended interview, Governor Holcomb and Chambers spoke with Inside Indiana Business host Gary Dick about their economic goals for the state.
Governor, all senior-level hiring decisions are important, but does the Secretary of Commerce position, because of the responsibilities, because it deals directly with investment, with jobs, with the economy, take on maybe special importance?
Absolutely. It rises to the top because without a strong economy, it makes everything else we're charged to administer and carry out that much harder. So the more resources that we have, the more revenue, and we're on a roll right now, a lot of momentum. We went into COVID in a strong position, but we came out of it even stronger in many respects. So the question is, what's next? And that comes down to leadership and why we're here today.
Well, why Brad Chambers, a successful entrepreneur and innovator, been in business here in Indianapolis and around the country really for many years. Why Brad Chambers?
Well, it was a no-brainer, quite frankly. Not only had I seen what he's done over the decades here and around the country, as you mentioned, but he is Mr. Development, and that's what we're trying to do, is develop communities so families can grow and more opportunity is available. So it really is, where do we go from here? And our priorities align through previous conversations. You know, I want to be a leader in the energy transition. Brad has this unique perspective on an entrepreneur economical ecosystem, so to speak, and thinking about raising our wages, thinking about developing communities with this READY program that's now out on the street statewide simultaneously at an unprecedented level. He's been there, done that.
Yep.
And so bring in Mr. Development, and that's what we got on the mound right now.
Brad, Buckingham Companies, you really started the company before you even graduated from IU, right?
That's
so
true,
apartment
yes.
development, but real estate investment
Yes.
In a big way. Give us a thumbnail description of Buckingham.
Great, thank you. It's an entrepreneur's story, and I was industrious from an early age. Actually, started working when I was 15, 16, and did buy the first real estate property when I was 20. I was a sophomore at IU, and then here we are 37 years later. The lesson that as I look back on that, was not the size, and it was not the management lessons I've had over the years, but the lesson was enjoy what you do, and I loved it. I loved working, and I loved the product that I was working with, and that served me so well, and that it kind of leads us to today. I was so excited, and this job is so exciting for me to work with the governor and his senior team. So to me, it's about what you're doing and enjoying that, and who you're doing it with. And I just couldn't be more excited about this opportunity on both accounts.
As you look at the opportunity before you, your vision, what do you see as maybe some key areas you're going to want to focus on in this new role as Secretary of Commerce?
Well, I do have a unique view as an entrepreneur. I mean, Buckingham started with zero. I mean, it was a literal zero, and maybe it was a negative zero if there is one of those, back in 1984. And so I was actually, Dr. Haverly started the first entrepreneurship club at IU, and I was one of his first classmates in that club, and now it's an entire course of studies. So entrepreneurship is near and dear to my heart, and I think if you look around the city, you know, there is those are sticky jobs, and those are high-paying sticky jobs, and there's no better example of an entrepreneur than looking 125 years ago at Colonel Eli Lilly. He was an entrepreneur, and he started a business that's still around today, generating dynamic economic contributions, high-paying jobs, and contributing to our state's economy. So my view is, starting from an entrepreneurial perspective, and to the governor's point, we really want to solidify, expand, pour some fertilizer on that that entrepreneurial ecosystem. That's number one for me.
Yeah. Governor, as you look at what's next for economic development, certainly there have been a flurry of big economic development announcements, Toyota, Apple, Amazon, big names, but also smaller companies around the state as well. What do you see as that next phase coming out of the pandemic for economic development?
Yeah, I think it is making sure that all of our communities are aligned, not just in purpose, but in action. And that's why this Ready Grant is so important and so big. It's a huge opportunity to retain. We talked about sticky jobs. We want sticky students as well. We've always been a powerhouse in manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, distribution. We also want to increase the creative class. We want our students that are groomed here and taught here to stay here, because the opportunity for high wage careers are readily available, and that ecosystem's in place. So we're looking at making sure that border to border, whether it's a small town or a large city, is working in unison, and that's state and local partnerships in place, and addressing any vulnerability, any weakness, to make sure that there is opportunity not just in one part of our state. That's why it's so exciting to see these announcements in West Lafayette or Crawfordsville or Vincennes pop up on the screen, not just in the bigger cities. But we look at this as a company does. They're looking at where is the work shed, where are they going to pull their workers from, and that's a region. So we're taking this regional approach, border to border, statewide, and it's a pretty exciting time to be in the Secretary's shoes.
Governor, I know you have a lot of interest, and I know are very excited about this $500 million approved by the legislature Ready initiative, which is really focused on quality of place and talent and around the state of Indiana communities. Talk about, in your view, the importance of this initiative and how it can make a difference in Indiana.
Yeah, it could be the difference for each community. I'll be speaking about this tomorrow in Spencer, Indiana. I'll be down in Evansville speaking about it later this week as well. And it's all about, like from an Indiana realtor's perspective, making sure your house is in order when guests come. And you never know who's going to be in your community or who's looking around to create their opportunity. So it's making sure the house is in order, making sure it's a place where people want to live, where people want to work. We know that working regionally is kind of the X factor in this. And so we're willing to, as a state, put skin in the game and partner with local communities that are going to match that by a 4-to-1 ratio at minimum. And so that $500 million all of a sudden becomes $2 billion plus. And we've had some experience with this. So this is about seeking out project worthy efforts, not just project ready efforts. So we're really trying to get people to think big, bold, and regionally, so that opportunity, when it comes, you're ready.
Yeah, and it's about talent too, right?
It's about talent, attraction, retention, grooming. It's about our universities. It's about more research and development coming here. So again, we've always been in that, manufacturing and distribution space and excelled at it, but now we're trying to create more here as well. And quality of place, quality of life, this is what companies are looking for. Where do their employees want to live? And so it's much more than just creating selfie moments and good views. It's about breadth and depth of programs all coming together and aligning, whether it's got to do with health or wealth.
Brad, Indiana's had a number of economic development successes, but coming out of the pandemic and this challenging time, as you look at it, does Indiana's profile, if you will, or attractiveness change for the better, maybe potentially coming out of the pandemic?
Yeah, a couple things. Number one, wow, what a great job this governor has done coming out of the pandemic. I mean, we are strong, we are a lean, mean fighting machine, and we are leaning into that with his leadership. So, in Ready's just an example of that. And I don't want to underemphasize $500 million, because it's really $4 to $5 billion, and with leverage, with communities matching, it's a $4 to $5 billion impact. It's throughout the state. It's not just Indianapolis. It's not just Fort Wayne. It's everywhere. And so that leads right into, I think, people in the pandemic took a collective, a deep breath and said, it reoriented people's priorities, right? And I think Indiana's got every bit to compete with Boston and New York and Austin and Nashville and others. And so being able to invest and live, work, and play throughout the state, and with people, Salesforce is a great example. It's a tech company, and a good percentage of their employees can live anywhere, and people are choosing to live anywhere, and we're the best anywhere that I know. And so I think we're in a really good position, not only fiscally, but from a leadership perspective, a creative perspective, and we're leaning into our creative economy. So it's a pretty exciting time.
Yeah. Governor, you and your predecessors have put a real focus on global economic development, if you will, and with success. We saw the Toyota announcement, $800 million, 1,400 additional jobs. Solemtech, precision ag company, a number of examples. How will you look at global, international investment in jobs going forward?
Well, I've last month traveled around the world, and we'll continue to do that, and even increase it. We'll grow from the inside out and the outside in, and we'll continue to take our expertise to the world and bring that back here, onshore opportunities right here in Indiana. We tripled our foreign direct investment just on my watch. So we had good momentum when I came in, but we really accelerated that, and that all, again, I'll start where, I'll return to where I started and say that this economic landscape has created a lot of opportunities for us. We just made, coming out of this last legislative session, we made record investments in K through 12. We made record investments in our infrastructure projects all over the state of Indiana. We paid down debt. So again, as the Secretary said, we've arrived in a much stronger position. So those folks who are anywhere in the world, if they're looking for a place of growth, and they're looking for a place of certainty and stability and predictability and continuity, it's Indiana. And we're going to also not just look to create more direct new flights around the world, but we're going to be also doubling down on the promotion of Indiana, baby.
All right, very good. Well, incoming Secretary of Commerce Brad Chambers, also Governor Eric Holcomb, thanks very much for joining us and giving us a preview of what to expect and what is next from atop the Salesforce Tower with a great view of Indianapolis and the Indiana landscape. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Resonado Labs, an audio technology startup with roots connected to Notre Dame, has taken its product to a new level. Its flat-core speakers will soon be found on RV giant Airstream's newest model. Resonado co-founder Eric Perez explains what the deal means for the company's future growth.
Give us the bottom line here, what this deal means for Resonado. You've signed a deal with essentially with Airstream, the high-end RV manufacturer, to get your speakers inside of a brand new concept vehicle.
That's right, yeah. So this is going to represent Resonado's first ever commercially available product. So we designed a custom sound system for Airstream that is initially debuting in the Interstate 24X, which is a brand new model that they're actually introducing to their touring coach line. And it really means a lot to us, introducing our technology through a major brand, especially in the Midwest, like Airstream. Yeah,
hey, give us we're going to look at the vehicle in a second, but give us the thumbnail description of your technology, this flat core speaker technology, and what it's all about.
Absolutely. So we invented a new speaker type. The speaker that most people are familiar with are the traditional cone shapes. Everybody recognizes it. It's a form of volume icon. That's been around literally since the invention of sliced bread in the 1920s. And we're introducing something that could, fully replace or even replenish it, and designing a flat, thin core speaker that's a lot more catered towards, not taking up as much space, but also not compromising when it comes to sound performance.
Hey, give us a little tour. Tell us what this new Interstate 24X Airstream vehicle is all about. And, typically in the auto industry, they tailor these sound systems to the vehicle. They typically have not done that for the RV industry, but you're going to do it in this situation.
Yes, exactly. I'll give you a little tour as I'll talk. Right now, what you're seeing behind me is the cockpit the Interstate 24X, as all of our students 24Xs are, or built on Mercedes-Benz chassis. And here behind me, I'm walking towards our sound system that we designed for them. So you see the silver satin grills on the back doors there. That's, it's a known thing that for automotive, custom sound systems are designed for each model, whereas in RV, speakers are typically bought, off the shelf and installed like that.
Yep.
But and that's usually for low quantities, but we're a big believer in the industry and think it's worth putting time and effort into designing new things.
Hey, you only have 30 seconds left, Eric, but, Notre Dame startup founded there at Notre Dame. You've since moved the headquarters to Chicago. What does this deal mean potentially, not only for the RV industry, but this kind of deal, for future business maybe in other sectors?
It means a lot. I think it really represents what we stand for in terms of bringing design to be a priority when it comes to sound system design.
Very good. Eric Perez, one of the co-founders of Resonant Auto Labs. Congratulations on the deal. We're going to be following your story, I know, for some time. So thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks for having me. It means a lot.
If you like pie, you're likely used to seeing it baked and served on a plate. However, at Lisa's Pies in Atlanta, Indiana, they come in a jar. Inside Indiana business reporter Mary Rachel Redmond takes us to the small Hamilton County town for more.
It's literally hidden in plain sight. Located on US 31 in Atlanta, Indiana, it's a must-stop for no other reason than to buy a Lisa's Pie.
I make Dutch apple, regular apple, sugar cream, cherry, black raspberry, peach, blueberry, pecan, rhubarb, strawberry, rhubarb, chocolate, coconut, butterscotch, lemon, banana, peanut butter.
Mouth-watering yet?
We do these on a daily basis. We don't keep pies over 24 hours.
And it's more than just pies, from sweetbreads to bundt cakes and even quiche. But perhaps her greatest culinary coup? Pie in a jar.
I took a pie, was able to can it, pie crust and all, and we're the only ones in the nation that do it.
Believe it or not, Lisa's career didn't start in a kitchen. It was in a cornfield as a professional detasseler. Then came a cancer diagnosis that would change everything.
And I realized at 29 that life was too short to be someplace where you didn't want to be.
So Lisa turned to the man upstairs for answers.
He said, pie shop? I don't like pie. I was a cake eater. I actually tried making cakes. It didn't work. Well, then I tried pies. And guess what? I'm 33 years later, still don't like pie, but I have learned to please a lot of people.
And you can go ahead and count me as one of them. Lisa brought me back to her kitchen to let me in on her secret to baking the perfect apple pie.
Welcome to my world. I love it. Now, my pies have to have fruit in them. I make everything like I would want it, even if I don't like it.
Even though you don't eat pie?
Well, it's your turn.
Oh boy. So what do you do now?
Take your pie.
There's lots of juice.
No, don't be nervous. Looky there. Voila.
Hey, okay,
now all
it's
you
not
have to
too
do
terrible.
Is now draw your apple.
Oh, wow, this is not easy.
I love it.
Oh gosh. I'm looking at this now. Off center. But yours is dead center.
But understand, I'm 33 years later, and I can do it in my sleep. My business has always been thriving. I could make 1,000 award-winning pies every day, but unless I had the customers to come in and buy them, that doesn't make me anything. It takes everybody to do it.
Mary Rachel Redmond, Inside Indiana Business.
Father's Day and picnic season are upon us, so we're ready to head around the state to sample Indiana's top barbecue joints. Yelp Senior Regional Lead Brittany Smith spotlights 5 of the best in our Trendiana segment.
Okay, barbecue is always popular, especially in the summertime. You've got a great tour put together for us. We begin close to home here in central Indiana at Trax Barbecue in McCordsville.
Yeah, the owners, Andrew and Whitney, there are serving up Carolina-style barbecue. slow cooking meats. And the thing that Yelpers really love in the reviews there is that you can also pair it with a visit to the local craft beer from Scarlet Lane Brewery, all under the same roof. So you get both of best of both worlds. And they are known for their pulled chicken sandwich and their Texas toast and beef brisket sandwich.
And barbecue and beer, of course, always a great combination. And Scarlet Lane, as you know, Brittany, really one of the great craft breweries here in our state. Okay, let's move to closer to downtown Indianapolis, Fletcher Place and Old Gold Barbecue.
Yeah, this is another fun pairing of a barbecue and brewery business that support one another. You're actually going to see Old Gold Barbecue parked right there in the parking lot of Metazoa Brewing, which has a beautiful backdrop of downtown Indy. Very dog-friendly business as well. They're serving up Central Texas-style barbecue. They are putting it on the pit for over 14 to 16 hours. Low and slow is the name of the game. And pork ribs and pulled pork, along with their green chili mac and cheese, are some of their most popular dishes in reviews.
Yeah, and I know a pro tip as well, Brittany, is a great place to watch the 4th of July fireworks coming back to downtown Indianapolis July 4th. So that's a good tip there. Let's go to Northwest Indiana now. Bombers Barbecue is in Munster.
Yeah, they opened in 2013. They're open 7 days a week, but in classic barbecue style, this is one of the places that you want to get there early because no guarantee that they're going to have it. They do sell out often. They are known for their rib tips platter, and this one's kind of a surprise, the Bang Bang Shrimp Appetizer, which has flour fried, tossed in sweet barbecue sauce, and drizzle with a little sriracha mayo.
Wow, tasty. Okay, my favorite name, I think, Bo Doogie's Barbecue is in Auburn in Northeast Indiana, just north of Fort Wayne.
Exactly. It's hickory slow smoked meats. They've got a lot of those classic Southern side dishes. It's very casual. Carry-outs available, and the smoked mac and cheese is one of the most popular items there.
Okay, we end up with the newest arrival really on the barbecue scene in Indiana, Gomez Barbecue, and that's on the Near East side of Indianapolis.
Yeah, originally opened at City Market, where they also have a location. Now they're right there on the Near East side, and they are known for their smoked pastrami sandwiches, the pulled pork sandwich, which you've got right there in front of you, the Cuban sandwich as well. They're also doing some coffee options earlier in the day, and people love their smoked tofu. For those who maybe don't eat, meats, that's got another great option there, all under one roof. Yeah,
really in a developing area on the Near East side as well. And we're looking at a live shot there, Brittany, of some of the great stuff from Gomez. I can smell it. It's very close here. I may have to sneak a bite when we get off the air here. Brittany, as always, great job, great tour around the state of Indiana. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks so much, Gary.
Ahimsa is a colorful stainless steel dinnerware line for kids that is non-toxic and environmentally friendly. The Indianapolis-based business has logged exponential growth over the past 6 months. Founder Manasa Mantravati spoke with Kylie Valletta in the Business of Health.
All right, well, let's start with your mission. Just a quick refresher. It's two-prong. You say these dishes are healthier for kids and healthier for the environment. So talk about both of those.
Sure. So there's growing evidence from the American Academy of Pediatrics, the Endocrine Society, the World Health Organization, all raising red flags on the chemicals in plastic really interfering with our hormonal system. So in children, it's particularly important because they're still developing and their organs are developing. And so those plastic chemicals can interfere with growth, hormones, neurodevelopment, sexual and pubertal development. And so that's why the AAP, the American Academy of Pediatrics, recommended to avoid using plastic and rather use glass or stainless steel. And so, I was brought up on stainless steel from, it's pretty common in India. And so we also know that stainless steel is the most recycled material in the world, while only less than 10% of plastic is actually recycled. So that's why we think our products are better for the kids and better for the planet.
Okay, and we can all see in the video that they're beautiful too, sort of these iridescent colors. So you're getting some national press lately. Tell us about that, and also some celebrity endorsements.
Sure. It's been a crazy year. We've been featured in USA Today, Pop Sugar, BuzzFeed, and most recently in the May issue of Parents Magazine. And again, a wild ride, but endorsed by Jessica Alba, Eva Longoria, Mayim Bialik, and most recently Gail Simmons from Top Chef. So I'm still pinching myself at all of this, but I think it really shows that parents and our country are kind of ready for a more sustainable, healthier option at the dining table.
Well, congratulations on all the attention. So obviously the dishware is going strong, but you're really excited about a new project too that centers on school cafeterias right here in Indiana. So tell us what you can about that.
Yes. So in general, while we try to avoid plastic, the school lunch tray hasn't changed since the 1940s. And so children spend, so much time at school in a non-COVID period. And so as the children return to school, Ahimsa is in the process of developing a stainless steel cafeteria line so that we can have safer and more sustainable materials in our schools here locally in Indianapolis. So I'm really excited about our pilot project.
And you mentioned off camera, Indiana could really be a good spot for this too. We have a pretty bad reputation as far as environmentally friendly. So this is a good place to try this, right?
Absolutely. In fact, we're one of the worst at recycling if you look around the country, and we have the second biggest landfill. So really anything that we can do as a community has a very large impact on this state. So I hope that we can be a part of that change.
Okay, so you currently sell your dishes on your website, but you're looking to expand your e-commerce footprint and maybe even a big box store. I know you can't tell us a lot lately or a lot right now, but what can you tell us?
We can tell you that we are strong on our e-commerce, but definitely looking now into being available in other avenues. And so, again, pinching myself at a lot of this. And so more to come, hopefully, even as early as this year.
Okay, we talked in the introduction how you launched your company just before the pandemic, which obviously you didn't know that was going to happen. I'm sure that caused some hiccups as you're trying to get your company off the ground. What has the last year and a half or so been like trying to get your company off the ground during a pandemic and with some India involvement as well?
Sure. So in terms of supply chain, it has definitely affected us twice now because, of course, back in March of 2020, India had one of the largest and most significant shutdowns in the world. And so certainly as we were launching, we were selling out of products and it was hard to get some more in. I designed them here in Indianapolis and then they're made for us. And so the last thing I'll say is, India was hit again with the second wave. So as we've grown, we are again experiencing a supply chain disruption. But at the end of the day, our workers in India and our team in India is so important to us. So we fully support any pause in operations to keep everybody healthy and safe until the time is right.
Okay, only about 20 seconds left, but mom to mom, you're a pediatrician, you're launching your own company, you're a mom of 3. How do you do it all?
I have the most amazing support system. We've got, my husband is my rock, my family, my parents, my sister and brother all live here, my brother-in-law. I've got just a wonderful support system of friends and family that really, it takes a village.
It absolutely does. Well, Manasa, congratulations on the progress and good luck moving forward. Keep us posted.
Will do. Thank you so much for having me again.
Purdue University's Data Mine program is helping some big-name U.S. companies like Ford and Microsoft connect the dots between the technology of today and tomorrow. Professor of Statistics Mark Daniel Ward joined us in our Eye on Education segment to talk about how the program is helping students prepare for the workforce.
Let's talk about this Data Mine program. I guess it was 4 or 5 years ago, so the program's not old. But how did it start? I know you got some money to launch this thing. It's really grown. How did the program start?
We were fortunate to have a 5-year National Science Foundation grant to enable students to do research with faculty members on campus. We had about 20 students a year in that grant for 5 years. And one of those 100 worked with the company in California, a biotech company. She's now our corporate partners senior manager for the Data Mine and has been instrumental in helping us build relationships with more than 40 companies. It's quite astounding.
Wow. And some big names, certainly Ford, Microsoft, Midwest brands, Beck's Hybrids as an example, Delta Faucet, among others. Mark, talk about, first of all, the need for this program. Data, that's all we hear about now, data and how it drives decisions for companies large and small. There really is a need for this Data Mine program.
There really is. I mean, there's such a demand for these students in every sector of industry. We see it all over the state of Indiana, companies large and small. Anytime we're talking to a company who's visiting campus or we have ongoing research with, there's such a demand to have students who are really well trained in the data sciences, and then they also know their domain of expertise as well. it gives them that special
special
incentive for the company.
Well, talk about specifically, Mark, how the data mine program works, because there are benefits certainly for the company and benefits to the student as well.
That's right. We could work with a manufacturer, for example, here in the state of Indiana, and the students get to experience over the whole academic year how data science is actually used in practice much more deeply than, say, a typical 10-week internship. The students understand the culture out in the workforce, the nuances of how data science is really used to make insights into data that companies are wrestling with, things like that. It's a pretty exciting time.
I hear so much about the connection between curriculum, between the academic world and the real world, private sector world, and needing to better align those two. This would seem to be somewhat of a perfect alignment. Something that the business community, the private sector needs, something that students need as well.
Of course, Purdue's the land grant for the state of Indiana, right? And our curriculum is really geared toward that student training that enables them to be ready for the data science challenges. And then the data mine is, in some sense, just icing on the cake, right? Enables the students to go out and put these skills to use in the real world.
Well, talk about the program and really the model, because it's expanding. I think you've received a grant from Lilly Endowment to take this model beyond West Lafayette.
That's right. A big part of the data mine and then this Lilly Endowment grant we've been fortunate to receive is, so there's a statewide development of this model. We can help other campuses all over Indiana to have similar models and partnerships with industry, and also broaden who's studying data science in terms of females, minorities, persons with disabilities, just to ensure that everybody has access to these opportunities at all undergraduate and graduate levels.
Yeah, so much talk about being inclusive and connecting with more and more people across the business landscape, but in particular in science, technology, engineering, and math and STEM-related fields. And you mentioned it, but getting more minorities and women and young girls engaged in technology. And I think you mentioned off camera before we got started here, you've got a partnership with a school for the deaf here in Indianapolis.
That in another year or so, as we ramp up our Indiana Digital Crossroads effort, the Indiana School for the Deaf is one of our first partners, as we want to build further relationship with them and empower deaf learners who want to study the data sciences.
As we wrap up, Mark, as you look going forward, it sounds as though this concept that launched 4 or 5 years ago really has a bright future. Where do you see the data mine program going in the years ahead?
We feel so fortunate that in the next 5 years we get to use this funding from Lilly Endowment to really help our partners all over the state. There's regional development needs, economic development needs, and the data sciences don't look the same in every nook and cranny of Indiana. So it's a pretty neat opportunity.
Very good. The Data Mine program at Purdue University really connecting with students there and far beyond. Mark, Daniel Ward, really appreciate you taking the time. Keep us posted. We'll be following your progress.
Thank you so much.
And finally this week, the Techstars Sports Accelerator, powered by Indy, has a mission to support startups developing innovative sports technology. The organization has launched its third cohort. Managing Director Jordan Flegel spoke with Bill Benner on Inside Indiana Sports.
Already the third year of this very innovative program and a product of, again, local sports entities, the fact that Indianapolis is a sports hub. How would you sum up the first 2 years of operation for Techstars?
Yeah, Bill, it's been great. I mean, we've had 20 companies over the past 2 years, and 11 this year. And, with COVID last year, it was certainly a unique challenge for everyone in the business world, but we kept right at it. We had companies here in the middle of COVID from around the world, and we didn't sort of skip a beat. In fact, a lot of our companies actually benefited from the world sort of shutting down in interesting ways. But we've had a lot of success. Some of our companies have raised a lot of money. One company that's raised over $35 million already in less than 2 years since coming through our program, and hired a lot of folks and created a lot of value in the world. So we're thrilled about how the first 2 years have gone, and excited to keep it rolling.
These 11 new recipients of Techstars Fitness, Sports Media, Sports Data, Robotics, E-commerce. I mean, it's across the spectrum. And just talk, if you would, Jordan, about the 13-week program, how that plays out leading to that day in September when they can showcase their efforts to the world.
Yeah, we start off with an offsite. The program kicks off. We bring in an executive coach. We do a retreat out in Selma, Indiana. We take them to an organic farm and where founders can totally unplug and really go deep on sort of leadership development and getting to know each other. And that brings the group together. And then from there, it's a very intense 13-week program that, accumulates with Demo Day on September 2nd, in which they'll present in front of, we expect over 500 investors this year, be able to pitch and hopefully raise money through that experience. The program itself kind of roughly breaks down to 3 separate months. The first month, we call it Mentor Madness, which we connect them with our 200 mentors who are executives from leading sports companies, celebrity athletes, VCs, angel investors, founders who have built large companies like FanDuel and Whoop, in the sports space. And so we dramatically increase the network for these founders in the first month. And the second month is really heads down on product, hiring, sales, traction. And then in the third month, we really get them ready to raise money and accelerate their growth. So, there's a little bit of overlap there, but those are kind of the 3 rough buckets that we divide the program into.
Jordan, we have companies from around the world this year, from the UK, Scotland, Ireland. But the important thing, I think, locally is the fact that there's local benefit. You are hiring students from local Indiana universities. There are companies who have decided to stay in Indianapolis with their product. And so there is definite local benefit to what Techstars is doing.
Absolutely. I mean, so we're here in Indianapolis in the first place because of our partners. I mean, we have all the leading sports properties in town. Our founding partners, as you mentioned, Pacer Sports Entertainment, the NCAA, Indiana Sports Corp. And it really is a public-private partnership because we have the Next Level Fund, which manages the state's $250 million, fund of funds. And so we have public coming together with the leading private sports properties in town to do this. And so it really leveraging the DNA of Indy as one of the major sports capitals of the world with an emerging tech hub here. And that's what really excites our founders about coming here and being able to have access to our partners, to our mentors. And so we bring them here and then we connect them. We have over 18 this year internships and associate roles for local university students. Many of those will lead to full-time job opportunities as they have the previous 2 years as our companies raise money and look to scale out their teams. So, bringing companies here, creating jobs here, creating a lot of value, and also generating a return for our partners, I think it's a win-win-win.
Well, Jordan, we certainly appreciate you coming on the program. We think of Indianapolis and we think of the major events that we have, whether it's the Super Bowl, Final Four, Olympic trials, everything that goes on here. But this is really on the ground level driving tremendous benefit for the city of Indianapolis and all of Indiana. Jordan Flegel, the Managing Director of Techstars Sports Accelerator, thanks for being on the program.
That wraps up this week's Inside Indiana Business television podcast. Remember, you can find all of this week's TV segments, as well as the top business news from throughout the state, at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. While you're there, you can also subscribe to our platform of free e-newsletters. This is Andy Ober for Inside Indiana Business.